Most impoverished families in third world countries are living off an average of $2 to $2.50 a day, or $90 a month. A quote by Russell G., a representative from Compassion International, whom I interviewed over the phone. My sponsor child comes from Burkina Faso, a community in Africa where most adults earn the equivalent of $10 per month. Typical houses are constructed out of mud and brick, malaria is prevalent, and malnutrition is super common. Maybe we all know what it's like to feel a little hungry, and I'm sure we can all agree it's a little shocking that our cup of coffee in the cafe after a week could cost the exact same amount as a family for their food in an entire day. Imagine yourself trying to provide for your son or daughter, not having the means to put food on the table, even in your best effort. What if an organization then stepped in alongside you to help you support your own child? Would you feel relieved? We Americans are so blessed to have so many resources to fall back on: food stamps, government aid, orphanages. However, for example, in Africa, there are places where a child could go unnoticed and live worrying more about where their next meal will come from rather than just being a child who plays and learns. Wow. Let's join in on a mission to give these children a holistic and fruitful life through our sponsorship, our prayers, and our compassion. I do know what it's like to go hungry for at least a couple days. And although this is America and I experienced this on my own volition, I only caught a glimpse of how intense hunger can feel. It's crazy knowing that there are kids out there who are in far worse situations and perhaps feeling like there's no hope of change. This was a hard thing for me to grasp. And I'm sure you might agree that not having your basic needs met could be a little stressful. It must be so much harder for the child who goes hungry over the long term and with no guarantee of their next meal to come. That anxiety could last their whole lifetime, but it doesn't have to be that way. By understanding the basic needs in life, we can more effectively help impoverished children with theirs. I will explain what those needs are and how we can join together to solve some of them. The biggest issue is not food alone. It's that parts of the world are underdeveloped and still we need to step in and teach, give, and get involved. If we tune in to what the people are really needing, we can support their needs in the most potent and powerful way. So, targeting the primary needs is the only way to get started. So the sequence described by Maslow's law will explain the hierarchy of needs, starting at the bottom and going to the top. On the bottom, we have the bare minimum they need their physiological needs met. And once these needs are met, you can move on to the next one. Physiological needs include air, water, food, shelter, clothing, reproduction, and sleep. The next one, moving forward, is safety needs. They need to feel protected. They need to feel that their health is secure. Moving on, we have love and belonging. People need friendships, relationships, a sense of belonging, to be a part of something. Moving forward is esteem. Once this need is met, you move on to the goal in life. But esteem, in more description, is more relevant to respect and freedom and a sense of belonging and recognition, status. And the goal, self-actualization, a desire to be the best version of yourself. So I found this organization called Compassion International. It is a ministry that was developed in 1952 to free kids from spiritual, social, economical, and physical poverty. It began when a missionary recognized a need and responded with a resolution. Through Compassion International's website, I quote, "Compassion International is a child advocacy ministry that pairs compassionate people with those who are suffering from poverty. The goal is for each child to become a responsible and fulfilled adult." This program assists more than 1.8 million high-need profile children, mostly below the age of 7, and Compassion International partners up with over 6,700 churches around the whole world. The churches also double as a safe haven for children in dangerous environments. Compassion is a Christ-centered evangelical organization that involves children in activities like Vacation Bible School, Bible studies, as well as projects for them to do. volunteer helpers in the community assist in finding the children of highest need. Not only do they meet with families once or twice a week for checkups, but they walk with them through life's struggles, so they're never really alone. This organization uses our sponsorship funds to provide food, supplemental education, like including books and classes, project supplies, clothing, improved sanitation, basic medical aid services, stuff like that. Children and families need a guide, a tutor, an educator, a physician, a mentor, somebody to be involved in their lives in some particular way. In fact, the volunteers who do work for Compassion live inside the communities of the people that we sponsor. They teach them everything about hygiene to income generating skills, and they guide them through financial decisions based on their most critical needs to maximize the purchasing power of our donations. Education on finances provided also encourages them to make good choices with their purchases and to target their most critical priorities to survive. Not only that, but like I said before, whenever money from the U.S. is delivered to the designated families, the money is spent in the local markets, where it will also enrich the economic health of the community and impact even more people. So, just to visualize here, wouldn't the world be a little better if we pitched in to help our neighbor? What if giving up coffee for a week to provide months worth of food for a kid actually happened? How differently would we, as the givers, look at the world once our attention is directed outwardly instead of inwardly? What would the world look like if we reached out instead of living ignorantly with stocked cabinets and frequent dinner nights out at restaurants? I believe that there is so much more that we can do to help children in third world countries. The outcome of bringing awareness to parts of the world that have little to nothing will bring about more financial support and a better life to a child, thus giving the parents more peace of mind and knowing that their children has provisions for a while. If any one of us can afford $38, we can provide food for a child this month. If we could just save up $456, the child is set for a year. That's so much. That's even less than the average American household spends annually on just a single pet at $500 a month. Wow. And we're talking about a child here. At minimum wage in America, averaging $7.25 an hour, it would take a little over 5 hours of work to provide this $38 a month. Whereas in comparison, it would take a parent in Africa 115 days to earn the exact same amount, but at 33 cents an hour. All I'm saying is that we have the means to make a huge difference, and the only thing we must do is realize that the blessings that we have and the value of blessing it back to others, who otherwise would not have anything. So let's make a small sacrifice together that would change the course of a child's life, one that will bring them joy and ourselves joy. Together, we can sponsor a child, pray for a child, and surround that child with compassion, and in return, we get nothing but the joy of seeing a child's life change for the better. Currently, I sponsor a 5-year-old named Aziz. He's amazing. We write letters, and he draws me pictures. These kids are real, and their situations are very real too. That's why it's so important to bring awareness about this problem, and to not ignore the fact of it happening all around the world, but instead to get involved in prayer, donations, or whatever you can. A life is worth every cent, and to me, Aziz is priceless. Are you willing to make a difference?